a way, our parents' romance is an iconic meeting of the old world and the new.
Anita Boyko had been born into an atmosphere of wealth and high culture, with family homes in Vienna and the surrounding countryside of Eichgraben.
Evicted from her idyllic childhood, she gamely took on the challenge of a refugee life in New York City. Her father, Friedel, had been a society painter and was able to reestablish his career amongst a nurturing Jewish community in New York.
As her father's health failed, our mother worked to support her parents and to get an education. Her can-do approach led to success as an occupational therapist.
And probably landed my introverted father as well. Our father, Sheldon, had grown up in Manhattan Beach with 3 sisters, Ruby, Phoebe, and Naomi.
His father had come in the previous wave of Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe. Having started as a street peddler, Max Fuchs was proud to send his only son to Johns Hopkins Medical School.
When I was still working at the VA, my father had helped an old friend of mine, Dr. Leonard Fried, to get a residency in the X-ray department at New York University. And he usually picked me up once a month to go to the Academy of Medicine on 103rd Street to enjoy a lecture. He would go to one lecture, I would go to a physical medicine lecture. This time, on October 1st, 1947, was a very interesting meeting at the Academy of Medicine that I wanted to go to, and he offered to take me and attend his own meeting. It was Shelley's first meeting, first day at New York University as resident in the X-ray department.
For some reason, he asked me if I wanted to go along.
When he came to pick me, there was Shelley in the car, sitting in the back, and I was trying to be polite.
I think Anita finally started up a conversation with me, asked me if the cat had got my tongue. I didn't know what to say to that.
Until I finally asked Shelley, please come on up front. I don't want to wrench my neck anymore.
Yes, she was in the middle. I sat on one side, Len sat on the other. We sat her in the middle between us.
He didn't say a word.
I kept quiet. I had nothing to say. I didn't know anything about their situation or much about anything. I was, as I say, bathed in naivete in those days.
Lenny asked me for another date on Thursday, and I said, no, sorry, I either have to do overtime or go swimming.
I thought that was astounding that a girl would bothered to take exercise in the form of swimming.
And when I said swim, he said, swim, swim, where do you go swimming? I said, oh, I swim in London Terrace on my way to the 8th Avenue subway.
I'd been a regular swimmer at this huge pool of the St. George Hotel in Brooklyn, one of the largest pools in the city at that time.
I didn't know St. George. All I knew was London Terrace. Can I go swimming with you? I said, sure, the pool is big enough for all of us. And he said, well, I'll try to be there.
Well, I'd try to make it too.
Otherwise, I'll call you over the weekend.
She did not show up, so I took a swim.
As it happened, Eleanor Roosevelt came to visit our department that evening, and she immediately recognized me, and we were talking. And I was thrilled and forgot all about Shelley. And I never expected him to come for a swim anyway, but I expected his call over the weekend, which did not come. Finally, on Tuesday, a very stuffed-nosed voice called me. Hello? Hello? How are you? I said, yeah, who are you? Oh, I'm Dr. Fox, don't you remember? And I said, oh, yes, where are you? He said, oh, I'm at the hospital. Well, that's where you're supposed to be. No, I'm just being discharged. So the story was that he did go swimming that Thursday, hoping to find me. And of course I wasn't there. He jumped in. London Terrace is a very narrow pool.
The first length I did, I collided with the pool and skinned my nose.
He had to be pulled out with a bleeding nose, taken to the hospital.
We got hold of a plastic surgeon.
And that's where he spent the last few days in the hospital.
I called her up again.
Can I come to see you? I said, sure. When do you want to come to see me? The next day. All right. He came Wednesday. And he stood in front of the door. He rang the bell, stood out there with a big patch of bandage on his nose, a big patch of bandage behind the ear, bloody collar. And I didn't know what to do with him.
All I remember is that I was astounded at how sympathetic she was.
I ushered him into my room. I put him in a chair that I had near the window with the George Washington Bridge. It was a beautiful view onto the river and the bridge.
If you want to get anywhere with a young woman of this sympathetic nature, all one needs to do is be a wounded bird, and she'll take care of you. So she immediately started taking care of me. Actually, I felt very fortunate to have made the right sacrifice at the right time.
All right, so we went down. He took me to his father's car, and I said, Shelley, with a car during the week, where are we going?
And I assumed that for a date you took a girl to a nightclub, because that's what the movies showed in those days. The dates were all at nightclubs. So I wanted to take her downtown to Manhattan and to some nightclub or other. I had no idea which one it would be.
All right, let's take the subway. So as we started walking up the subways, we slowed up more and more, and I said, Shelley, please, I don't know about you, but I have to work tomorrow. I have to leave the house at 6:45 in the morning and work all day. I have patients at night after work. So maybe it is such a beautiful evening. Maybe we should stay up here and just go for a little walk.
When I thought that was unusually healthy for a young woman of the Hollywood era to suggest that we don't bother going downtown. Things were nice up there. The evening was pleasant and clear.
And we quickly turned around and took a walk. We went down the steps, down towards the river, and the bridge was towering over us. And the moon and the stars.
I see it from her point of view. I don't have much of a separate point of view, except that I was enchanted.
And something happened right then and there.